The New Testament says it this way: Beloved, let us love one another, because love is of God, and those who love are born of God and know God. Those who do not love do not know God. Why? For God is love. There's power in love. There's power in love to help and heal when nothing else can.
As if the wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle was not beautiful and historic enough. That ceremony in May of 2018 featured a sermon very different than what the Queen is used to. It was delivered by Bishop Michael Curry, the presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church. His new book focuses on a theme that's always relevant, though perhaps rarely quite like it is right now. It's called Love is the Way, Holding On to Hope in Troubling Times. Bishop Michael Curry joins us now to discuss it. Bishop, good evening.
Good evening. Good to be with you.
Good to have you with us. Can you just first of all start with a little spiritual counsel for me? I truly do believe that everything's going to be all right. I know that we live in a weird time right now, and as a journalist, my job is to see things as they are. I still believe in humanity. I believe in America. I believe that the ties that bind us are stronger and more meaningful to us than the ties that tear us apart. And I am constantly buffeted by people who are like, I don't know how you could say that. It's like you don't even watch your own network. It's like you're not even reading your own coverage. I don't know where you're seeing that. Am I crazy? Are they crazy? Is everybody a little bit crazy? Like, what do you think? Are we going to make it?
We're going to make it. And I tell you why we're going to make it. We're going to make it, first of all, because the God who is love is the God, and God is God, and none of us are, thank God. So that's one consolation.
Right.
The other is, I really do believe, my brother, that there are more good people than there are of the other. Now, all of us are a little bit of mix. I mean, we're all a little bit of good one day, a little bit of something else the next. But I believe that most people are decent people who just want to live a good and decent life. Now, the question is, how do we appeal to that decency? How do we, as a friend of mine says, the Bishop of Washington, she says, how do we mobilize love, mobilize the goodness? And I think if we mobilize love, we will see a sea change. I am not an optimist because I'm giddy. I'm an optimist because I believe there is a God, and God has not given up on us yet.
Let me read an excerpt from your book and talk about some of the practical ways that you think love can manifest itself, especially in today's world. In part, your book reads, quote, "The way of love will show us the right thing to do every single time. It is moral and spiritual grounding and a place of rest amidst the chaos that is often part of life. It's how we stay decent in indecent times. Loving is not always easy, but like with muscles, we get stronger both with repetition and as the burden gets heavier, and it works," unquote.
Yes.
That last part of the penultimate sentence, as the burden gets heavier. Expand on that a little bit. I feel like a lot of people who watch the news and see what's going on feel like the burden is getting heavier and that the inevitable outcome is that it will break you down.
Yeah, it is. The burden gets heavier. But the truth is, love, in the Song of Solomon, in the Hebrew scriptures, says love is stronger than death. And the reality is that it actually is. Think about it this way. If you think of love as a sentiment, then no, that doesn't matter. But love is a commitment. It is a hard-headed, determined commitment, a spiritual commitment to seek the good, the welfare, and the well-being of others, as well as the self. Love is the ultimate unselfish act. Now, I want you to stop and think for a moment. Think about any moment of human progress. Every moment of human progress, every positive thing that has been done that has ennobled humanity has been done by people who have been committed to seek the good and the welfare of others. That's what love looks like in the social context. So I'm here to tell you, John Lewis stood as a person of love, and he made a difference. Ruth Bader Ginsburg stood as someone of love, and she made a difference. You can go down call the roll, and the truth is, We are better because there have been people like that who have passed our way. So what I'm talking about now is let's mobilize that power of unselfish, sacrificial love that seeks the good and the welfare of others as a commitment of life. And when we make that commitment, we can even make this democracy work. And I can prove it.
Let me get to
one. Let me prove it?
Oh, go ahead, prove it. Prove it.
If you look at the Great Seal of the United States, you will see at the bottom the words E pluribus unum, from many one. And that saying comes from Cicero of ancient Rome, who said, and I quote, now this isn't Michael Curry now, this is Cicero.
Right.
When each person loves the other as much as he loves himself, then it becomes possible for many to become one. The words for that, E pluribus unum. That is the foundation of this democracy in this country. When we learn to love others as much as we love ourselves, then we will make of this society a beloved community that will really be a shining city on a hill. Don't you give up, brother, and don't get weary.
I know our time with you is limited. I do want to read one more excerpt from the book, though. You also write, quote, "My father once blurted out to me in a moment of exasperation with a 13-year-old, you know, the Lord didn't put you here just to consume oxygen." He was right. With every breath, we're inhaling oxygen and we're exhaling carbon dioxide. You're here to give and to receive, and life is incomplete without doing both. When you know, nurture, and ultimately share your true self, you breathe God's love into every space you inhabit, unquote. Before I have to let you go, could I ask you just about the practical work of talking about that sharing of our true selves, especially in a world where more people are sharing digitally and virtually, and in a nation that statistically is less and less religious, where more Americans are saying they either don't connect with organized religion, don't trust organized religion, don't know what to think, and so I'm just kind of spiritual as a person. How does the actual work of ministry for you change as a result of the way our society has changed?
Well, sometimes we just have to be very practical, because everything that I just said to you about love, all that is what I've learned from Jesus of Nazareth in the Bible, in the Hebrew scriptures, and the New Testament. I mean, I'm not making this up. This isn't coming from Michael. So those ancient religious traditions have some wisdom that they can impart to us. And it's very practical wisdom. We were made, I'm telling you, the scriptures are clear. We were made for God and each other. And we need God and we need each other. And the truth is, one thing that we can do, if everybody makes a decision every day, I'm going to do something for God and I'm going to do something for somebody else. Reach out and touch somebody who doesn't have anybody to be in contact with them. Reach out to them. Find somebody. Don't let them be lonely. Don't let them be by themselves. If you're high-tech, Zoom. If you're low-tech, text. If you're no-tech, pick up the phone and call them. But reach out and touch another human being as a fellow child of God. I'm talking about practical religion, brother. And that kind of practical religion, it doesn't matter whether you are a millennial or a Generation Z, right, or if you're like a baby boomer like me. You reach out and touch somebody in the name of love, and you can make this world a better place.
I know there are many different people in our audience who have different views about God, but I know that at a time with COVID-19 and the pandemic keeping so many people apart, I think the idea of reaching out to someone, especially now, that I think will trigger some thoughts for folks. The book is called Love is the Way, Holding on to Hope in Troubling Times. Bishop Michael Curry, thank you very much.
Thank you. God bless you now.
It's the top of the hour. I'm John.